So this is my final prediction on the Sean O'Malley versus Merab fight. A very big main event, which honestly throughout the fight week has kind of changed my opinion a bit about everything. I think it's a lot closer than what people think. Before I get into it, if you guys can, please hit that sub button and let's again shoot for 10 likes on this video. Anyways, let's get into it. All right, so heading into my prediction, I rewatched the first fight, not too long ago. Before, like in the beginning of the week, I thought it was actually a pretty easy prediction by picking Merab to win it by, decision, right? Kind of like the last fight. I kind of dismissed the fact that Sean O'Malley really had a chance. Not too long ago, 2 days ago, rewatched it, and it's actually a lot closer than what people think. I think with people kind of get thrown off with Merab's pressure and his takedowns that Sean O'Malley is not going to handle that well. And quite honestly, not only did Sean O'Malley actually didn't have horrible takedown defense, but he also hurt Merab, especially late in the round. And I think that's actually a very good key to kind of carry in within this rematch. And so, yeah, to kind of start it off, right? The ways that Sean O'Malley need to do in order to win, right? Sean O'Malley, kind of like I said in my video 2 days ago, he needs to, first be on his A game with his takedown defense. If he was able to get to the fence, that's the best way for him to get back up. That's what he did throughout the fight. Whenever he was able to get back up, it's usually by using the fence. The second thing, outside of obviously stuffing the takedowns, the second thing I would kind of be more concentrated on if I'm Sean O'Malley is being long within the striking range. And what I mean by that is when he throws the shots, especially with his leg kicks and his punches, should be at more. He should land it towards the end of his punches and kicks. Especially in the first round is a good example of it. Rob for a bit actually had a little bit of a difficult time trying to get a takedown. And, the reason why is because he's like 5 feet apart from Sean O'Malley. And if you're kind of, long enough with, striking against Sean O'Malley and trying to get a takedown, it's pretty difficult doing that versus if he was closer in range. Easier to get a takedown, if you're a lot closer in the striking range versus being far apart, especially with Sean O'Malley's size being very tall and very lengthy. And the last thing I would kind of do, especially with Sean O'Malley, kind of what I hinted within the last fight in the fifth round, hurt him in the body. Try getting those body shots within early in the fight. It will build on, especially with rounds 4 and 5. That the body shots that Sean O'Malley can throw and land on Merab could definitely take a toll on him in the later rounds. And that's what I essentially said within that video not too long ago. I feel like if Sean O'Malley implements that, that is the way that Sean O'Malley can win. My concern, and I still have this concern heading into the rematch, if Merab adjusts to the fact that if he goes and takes down Sean O'Malley to be towards the middle of the cage. Like I said, just a couple minutes ago, Sean O'Malley kind of needs the fence to get back up. The rounds that Sean O'Malley lost within the first fight was when Merab was able to take him down. It was in the middle of the cage. He didn't have a fence around him. There was no fence around him. And those were the rounds where it was Merab, have him taken down for the whole round. And Merab won just because of, the ground control. And Merab did that 2 times with a good chunk of the round. He did that twice within the whole fight, right? Rounds 2 and 4. Who's to say if he does it for 3 rounds in this next fight? Then he wins 48-47. Who says that he doesn't do that? And that's the concern, I would say. If he adjusts to the fact that he gets Sean O'Malley away from the cage and gets him towards, the middle of it, that is definitely, a way that Merab can go and definitely win this fight. And then honestly, I would kind of if Merab switches it up and doesn't really rely on one thing or the other, kind of mixes the striking and grappling. That's just a way to kind of throw off Sean O'Malley within this fight coming up in 24 hours. Can't believe it's coming up soon. And honestly, yeah, I think with those two, sides of the coin of this whole Sean O'Malley and Merab fight, it's a very interesting fight. It's going to be a different fight for sure heading into this rematch than it will be in the first fight. But for my prediction, what everyone's been waiting for, you see, The last couple of days, I have been thinking that Sean O'Malley could pull this off, especially if it goes. Let's say if it's a close fight, and it goes to this, judges for UFC, right? Who's to say that the UFC? Listen, I'm not saying that they rigged the fight, but what if they favor Sean O'Malley if it's a closer fight because of the business side of the UFC? I don't feel like the UFC would want to give it to Merab like that. If it's a close fight and if there's a way that Sean O'Malley somehow wins the fight or there's an argument to it, they might go and give it to Sean. You know what I mean? Merab has to dominate this fight, and he didn't necessarily dominate the fight. Yes, I did say unanimous decision, and honestly, I didn't watch the rematch when I made that video in the beginning of the week. Since I did rewatch the match, yes, although Merab got a unanimous decision, Sean O'Malley, what is it? Sean O'Malley, I believe, between the scorecards was around 48 to 47, maybe 149-46 card, but generally a 48-47. And I feel like if those were the scorecards again, they might give it to Sean O'Malley that time. You know what I mean? Just because I feel like the UFC's been pushing Sean O'Malley for a long time, and yeah, I think that's their next golden boy per se. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be a closer fight than the last one. I've changed my mind, and I'm going to pick Sean O'Malley to win by a close decision. I'm going to say split decision to Sean O'Malley. I'm just going to preface this again, right? Merab could definitely win the fight by like 3 rounds to 2, but there will be some way that the UFC rigs this, and I don't want to say rigged. Sorry, apologies. Don't want to say rigged, but there could be a way that they'll just favor Sean O'Malley because he's the more favorite fighter within the UFC, right? Where the UFC has been pushing Sean O'Malley, and if there's any way that there's an argument that Sean O'Malley won the fight, even though he didn't, they'll go and do it for him, right? It's just because business-wise it makes sense for Sean O'Malley to hold the belt versus Merab. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. I feel like Sean O'Malley will win this in a close fight, could arguably be a robbery, and yeah, that's how I feel. Because I don't feel like Merab is going to dominate. It's not going to. I don't think it's going to be a one-sided battle. This fight, it's either going to be a close fight. Sean O'Malley could actually be a lot better. There's actually a lot more room for growth for actually Sean O'Malley this fight compared to Merab. And yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a bit tougher of a fight for Merab than it was the first time. So yeah, that's my prediction. Sean O'Malley within 3 rounds to 2. I'm going to give it to him. Anyways, if you guys like this video and want more prediction videos like this, please hit the like, comment, and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.